Hey everybody, this is En route, and today I want to talk about domesticated cogs. Are you a domesticated cog? I don't know, but here's how you find out. What are your plans? Do you have any plans for the future? Do you know how to screw in a light bulb? And by that, I mean, can you manage small household repairs? Or do you have to hire someone to do everything and delegate everything in your life because you're just too good to do any of that lowly level stuff? Are you the type of person to know things from a surface level but never really get your hands dirty within that realm, right? And the thing about that is that this kind of mindset, this kind of existing, this kind of being is what a cog does. Do you pay enormous amounts of money on rent and then expect to have money at the end of whatever? And I'm not talking about the people who, you have to rent because, you're at a certain level in your life. I'm talking about the people that have a lot of money, and let's say you make $200,000 a year, but you're spending $50,000 a year on rent. I mean, that is well over $4,000 a month. Right? I'm not doing the math, but that is a lot of money to just spend on like an apartment or something. It just doesn't make any sense. And then a lot of these apartments, they're just boxes, they're just jail cells, they're just perfect real estate money generation machines, but they don't do anything for the actual residents that live there, and then people are getting jump scared every time they go through a certain hallway or door because there's people everywhere and the common areas are everywhere, and as soon as you walk outside your door, everything, just people everywhere, like you're always just running into people. So even on your bad days when you don't want to be running into so many people, you're running into people, everybody. It's just insane to me that people would want to live on top of each other like this and be essentially in a cage. Like, okay, I'm in a system and this is what you do. You pay rent because you can't figure out how to do anything yourself. You know how people get rich? They live below their means. Okay? They live really, 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 really low beneath their means. Okay? So if you make $100,000 a year, you're spending maybe $1,200 a month on rent, and it's not the best neighborhood, but that's 10% of your income simply for just living. So imagine if, you make less than that. Let's say you make $50,000 a year. Then you have to live even further below your means in order to save enough money to be allowed to do the certain things. And the thing is that this is all about time. You need to take the time to stack the money, or if you get money through investments, or if you just are able to generate a lump sum of cash and get yourself liquid on a property, that is literally the best way to build wealth. But the problem is that most people don't have the patience, and most people don't want to do the work themselves. Most people think that you just have to go the way the system wants you to go, not understanding that actually there is another way, and there is a way that can give you freedom, can give you more time, it can give you everything that you actually want in life. Because the thing is that after you're done creating a stable place for you where you don't have to pay rent on, and that maybe your taxes is just what, $200, $300, $400, $500 a year, that is a lot better than paying all this rent. And the thing is that people are losing their wealth to the rent. This own nothing, be happy stuff, it's because you're not even going to be able, they're going to make it to a point where no one can afford anything, and that you essentially have to become an indentured servant because you have no other choice but to be the slave for somebody, because you don't actually, you're not liquid on any assets. And so because you can't keep up with taking care of those bills or the mortgage or whatever, you end up losing what you have because it gets stolen from right under you. That's why it's so important to live below your means, because you never know. That's why it's important to just not laugh at humble beginnings, because if you go well over your head with purchasing something, you're going to literally screw yourself up financially. Take your time. Do it slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Who cares how you look if you look stupid for doing it one way? One day you have to use a wheelbarrow to do everything, and then a few years later you have your own four-wheeler with a cart and you can actually haul things yourself. It takes time to get to a certain place, but if you're patient, you'll get there. You just have to work at it and save. And this is what is so important, that half the time that people don't realize how much more simpler than it actually is. We are in a rat race because we have been denied information at a young age. So we're all just thrown out into the world and then given what is it called? You know, most people take the path of getting loans for college or whatever. And so then they become in debt to whatever. And so, you know, they teach you very early to just be in debt all the time. And I think that's a culture that we all need to break, because these companies don't really care about you. Or the government doesn't really care about you. We live in an unfair society. And so people are trying to, pretend like we live in a fair society, when in reality, we don't. And so you have to prepare for that, and you have to treat the world as what it is, not as what this fantasy that most people want to believe. And so, I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer. I'm here to tell you the reality, Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Stop trying to, do everything the way everybody else does it. Why do you have to follow the crowd? Why? Why do you have to do everything the same? Why is it an issue if you do things differently, if you think about things differently? At the end of the day, somebody who bought a property that was $20,000 but are liquid, right, would be in a better place than if somebody bought a $200,000 house but is still making mortgage payments. They're literally in a better place, and their property technically is worth less, but it would be worthless to you if you can't afford it, if it gets pulled from under you. So then you're out of all that money, and you won't get it back. And so I think is that people bite more than what they can actually chew. And that's why they get themselves in bad situations. And they don't think, because they think that the world is always going to be the way that it benefits them, but the world is always changing. The world doesn't stay the same. Nothing ever stays the same, right? So, I think this is a very important topic. Definitely don't learn this in high school, but we all need to start realizing that the way that things have always been done needs to change. There are aspects of, the past that we want to bring back, when there are things that we don't want to have. So we don't live in the golden age of America anymore, and people need to start realizing that we don't live in that area. We live in the era of $6 coffees. So $7. We have to be realistic and stop trying to be, I don't know, like showing off. Like people are always trying to like show off, you know, and it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Who cares? Get your life together first. You know, I see people wearing entire investments and I'm like, oh my God. You know what I could have done with the money you spent on the bag? You know what I could have done with the money? And you know, if you got it, you got it. That's great. But I know most of the time you see somebody, you know, acting a certain way, you know, you can always tell where somebody is, you know, if they're surface level or if they have a better understanding. And the thing is that, you know, this is the whole difference between like old money rich and new money rich. You know, new money rich is like kind of classless and belligerent, and you know, they don't really have the best critical thinking abilities, and they don't pay attention to a certain degree. And the thing is that, you know, it's partially the education system that needs to be blamed for that. But, you know, that's why I'm here trying to give somebody and a lot of people, you know, an idea. Like, let's say, you know, you are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, you live with your parents or something like that. If you just have a shit job and you save all that money, you can get yourself a property. You can own a property, but you have to save that money. Now, hey, things are getting a little crazy right now. I highly recommend people to buy some silver. Things are getting so crazy, you know? And the thing is like, I don't want to say too much, because when they don't understand something, they think it's crazy. Like, people attack what they don't understand, right? And so, you know, I can only say so much on my channel, because people are just not there yet. People need to be spoon-fed things little by little. You know, you can't just take a whole soup spoon. We need little baby spoons of knowledge, because it can be too much, right? And so when people don't fully understand the mechanism of action, they can't trust it, right? So there's so much more that we all need to learn and realize and grow. And I think our generation, you know, specifically the millennials, is going to be the forefront of this change, because we're the young adults, right? We're the young adults of this time. And so, you know, it's our job to, you know, start realizing how we can make change for the better and bring back things that make us healthy, nourish society, nourish the family. We've been going down in the wrong direction. And the generation that has come after us are completely misguided due to the fact that the school system has completely changed its curriculum, like completely brainwashing them. It's insane. I've seen some of the assignments, and it's just like the focus is just not on anything except scenarios that are not important, but force the children to have a focus in a direction where it doesn't matter. It's not going to benefit them in the future, you know? And it just sucks. But we millennials and, you know, our parents, while they're still here, we need to start moving the minds of the younger generation. And, you know, even some millennials are just cooped. But we need to start moving our minds in a more critical thinking, more aware, more vigilant, more just reasonably logical, you know, perspective, because we're using weaponized incompetence to destroy our country. And I'm really getting sick and tired of it, because these people are malicious at this point. And there is just, the people that are logical, the people that do understand, need to start calling these people out at a more aggressive rate. We cannot be passive anymore, because they have overstepped a boundary that if we don't do something about it now, it's going to just turn massively ugly. So let's stop the ignorance and let's call it out. Let's stop living and making society, like, we're just accepting of too many things that are like just not okay. We're just accepting way too much stuff. Like it's starting to look like a psychosis. And the thing about that is that there's so much hypocriticalness happening, so much hypocritical things happening. And it's just like, there's just, it's just so overwhelming. I'm here to say, stop being a cog. Stop being a cog. Stop being cattle. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was just like, wow, people are so domesticated. They literally do not have any clue how to survive. Like, if everything were to implode, most people would just panic and like die in an accident or something. Or most people would just die because of like some sickness, or maybe just exposing themselves to like the wrong thing, or not understanding a certain aspect of sanitation. And this is the thing, it's just like we're educated fools. We're so educated, but we're not educated at all. And it's crazy to be like, at the same time, a fool, and yet also brilliant. A brilliant fool, right? You have a lot of knowledge, you have no wisdom, you have no intuition, you have no ability to survive without the system that you've been farmed in and told to react as and care as. And that's why so many people are so superficial and materialistic and surface level. And that, because that's what they want. This is a consumerist society, and so they want everybody to just be consuming and worrying about how they look and worrying about, you know, shit. And it's just like, we have so many beautiful people with disgusting insides, with ugly hearts, with dark minds. It's incredible what I've seen and what I'm seeing, and it's just making me feel like, you know, wow, like we are really such like you know, I don't really like this world because of how crappy people are, you know. Like, I love the nature and I love the animals, I love plants and all of that great stuff, you know, I love the weather. But humans sometimes can become too carnal, and they can become too accepting. You know, the wisdom of man allows us to know when we're overstepping a boundary, when we're becoming a cancer, when we're doing the wrong thing. But we're not being wise. We're being carnal. We're being in our flesh. We're being debaucherous. You know, and it's just, there's so many things that need to be addressed. You know, obviously Rome wasn't built in a day, but more of us need to realize it needs to be addressed. It's not this just, oh, red versus blue experiment. This is a two-headed dragon. And so we are so worked up about what's wrong with the other person's argument. We're not realizing that we're all kind of in the same boat. So why are we making this such a big issue when inherently most of us want the same thing? I don't know. I don't know what to think of things anymore, because the world is not at all what I thought it was. And, you know, maybe it's oh well, you naive child kind of thing. But I see the holes in the system, and I know that there is a way to fix it. It's just whether we choose to or not. It's not anything. It's not rocket science to fix this. It's just dealing with greed and people who, you know, want to be in power and want to be in charge. You know, these power-hungry people. And, you know, it's up to the majority of us to wake up and realize that this is not the way. This is not the way. And we can create a newer and better and a more efficient culture. So that is all I'm going to say for today. Hope you have a great day.